Hi, it's Gab and Dad here with another review, another apocalyptic story, but quite different from 2012, thankfully, in most ways.
Thank God for that.
Yes, for small mercies. It's The Road, based on the book, Pulitzer Prize winning and Oprah approved book.
And a very fine book. We both read it.
Excellent book, yeah, from about 3 years ago.
By Cormac McCarthy, the same man who wrote, if I'm not mistaken, No Country for Old Men.
That is correct,
yes.
yeah. And we've been anticipating this film adaptation for ever since we heard about it, which was quite a while. It had various delays. Finally, it was here. We saw it. Tell us what it's about.
Well, it's a post-apocalyptic world. Some terrible thing has happened. We're never told exactly what it is, whether it's nuclear war or the Earth's been hit by a meteor. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Most people have been killed. There are people roaming the land in very bad state. Most of the land has been blackened, trees killed, everything's grey, ash everywhere. It's a horrible, horrible, bleak corpses. This is not a date movie, by the way. It's a bleak, horrible world where people are struggling very hard to survive, and in particular, a man and his son are on the road heading south for reasons that are never entirely clear, and they are struggling to survive along with everybody else. And
literally the man and boy.
They're not never given names, are they? No.
So obviously, symbolic, representative.
Universal
exactly.
figures.
And really the whole story is about very big universal themes. They aren't sort of like trivial points to be made in this story.
No. I mean, what I think this film is about, two or three things. First of all, I think it's about good and evil, and in particular how good can triumph and assert itself even in the most horrible of all conditions. And in fact, one theme running through the film is good guys, bad guys.
Right. Through the boys about maybe 10, and through his eyes, like children, he sees it through good and bad.
And he always wants to know whether people they meet on the road are good guys or bad guys, and interestingly, whether they themselves are good guys or
After
bad
certain
guys.
scenarios, he'll ask his father, aren't we the good guys or are we still the good guys? Which is a very pointed
So that's an important
commentary.
theme in the film. And I think another theme in the film is the love of a father for his son and the son for his father. That's a very powerful theme that asserts itself throughout the film.
I think those two themes intersect. Rather than saying about good versus evil per se, I would describe it as about humanity. What makes us human, what keeps us human, even under the most dire circumstances.
And believe me, these circumstances are dire.
You can't get more dire than that. And that intersects with love, and specifically parental love, which I say they intersect because what is the core of humanity but the ability to love, and it's and especially not even romantic love, but the love that's distilled to its very core essence, which is the parent-child love.
And you found this film quite moving, I think. I detected some sniffling at one or two.
I have a cold.
One or two junctures, particularly at the end.
Well, I'm a sucker as a parent for the parental, those sorts of themes and moments, and not that, obviously you're a parent too, but being the parent of a young child.
I am, I think, a parent.
I think so. We're going to have to change the name of Gab and Dad. But no, I mean, I think that other people can understand when your child is young in particular, there's certain feelings of literal, like having to physically protect them and those sorts of
And the boy
things.
in this film is what, maybe about 10, 9, 10?
I think, the actor was 11 when he shot the films, and I don't remember quite in the book, I think he's supposed to be about 10.
Around about that. Now, I mean, a couple of warnings about this film. As I said earlier, it's not a date film. It's not a...
Well, it depends on your relationship.
Yeah, I guess. It's a good film to go to if you're kind of breaking up. It's not a film to go and see if you're feeling a tad depressed. You need to feel psychologically strong because
so it's probably not going to do well.
It is a bleak film. And the other thing to be said about it...
Although there is a streak of hopefulness.
That's true, there is. But another thing to be said about the film, I think, is in some ways nothing happens. Although, as you said to me when we talked about it afterwards, but in another sense, everything happens.
Yeah.
There's not a big narrative arc. There is not a plot that's unfolding all the time. So if you're very plot oriented, you might find this film a trifle boring. Yeah,
it's not plot heavy. It's very faithful to the book. So for if you're a fan of the book, then you'll be okay. If you're not familiar with the book, then that's a good warning. It's not plot heavy, but as Dad said, I said to him, there's so much in so very little, because when everything is distilled down to survival, you know, hearing a creak in a floorboard, is it a good guy or a bad guy? You know, finding a can of Coca-Cola in an abandoned product placement in a vending machine is a miracle. And all these little things, and in the exchanges between the father and son as well, very, I mean, it's even dialogue light. They don't make big long speeches about love and survival, but the little exchanges are weighted, like when the son asks about good guys versus bad guys. They're weighted with meaning, and yet they're also, I found that they're also very everyday kind of little occurrences between father and son that
they're
other
still
parents
parent
would,
and child.
they're still parent and child, so I mean, he'll scold the boy, and the boy will have a little tantrum, and I found that very charming is a bit of an odd word, but it really gave it a realism.
Good acting by Viggo Mortensen. I think
comment?
Well, I wasn't entirely convinced, but I know you were. The boy was good, I think.
I feel a bit the opposite of you. I was all the way on board with Viggo.
Not so much the boy?
The boy, child actors are always a bit difficult. They have an affectation usually, and I think this boy could have been a little bit better. Not bad, and he's in every scene. If he was bad, the whole movie would have
Charlize Theron is the
she's pretty.
Cinematography good, I think. I mean, the horrible bleakness of this awful world
was beautiful.
It was very powerfully conveyed by the cinematography.
And that's something that's a benefit over the book. But otherwise, I said to you, I think this story is more suited to a book. It didn't fail as a film, but it didn't deliver.
Didn't engage you the way you're engaged when you read a book over several days.
That book affected me very powerfully.
Yes, I know. But
Thank you.
Yes, it did. But I would give this film, The Road, a thumbs up, and I think it meets the test that Gabrielle and I often apply, which is, does it stay with you? I think we'll see. But I think this is a film that will stay with us. We'll think about over the next few days, and the images in the film will be in our mind.
Definitely.
So there you have it. Gab and Dad, On the Road. A good film. I think it's probably a film we'd tell people to go and see, right?
It's worth seeing.
It's worth seeing. Cut.